All right, hey everybody. We are doing our Friday live here. Today is Friday. Happy Aloha Friday. Anyway, Adrian, do you want to read the intro? Who do we have today?
So our guest today relocated from Southern California to Oahu in 2019. He was born and grew up on Maui, though, and he did receive his degrees in finance and psychology from Colorado State University and his Doctor of Chiropractic from Southern California University of Health Sciences. He utilizes diversified technique in his chiropractic approach and has extensive experience in pediatrics, pregnancy, myofascial release, and sports-related injuries. Please welcome our guest, Dr. Scott Deane.
Oh,
welcome, Dr. Scott.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So, why don't you tell us, if you're not from Hawaii, how did you end up in Hawaii? That's always a good story.
He was born in Maui, but he left and he came back.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So, interesting story. I was born in Maui, grew up in Kihei. My parents moved to Maui in the 70s. My dad was a pharmacist for Long's Drug, and he eventually made it back to the mainland when I was a little bit younger. So I kind of consider both Maui and Hawaii and Colorado as kind of my home. But after I married my wife and we had our kid and we were kind of living in Southern California at the time, we didn't want to raise our son there. So we decided to either go back to Colorado or Hawaii. And then a job offer presented itself through one of my colleagues, and we ended back up on Oahu, which is great. It's been a good choice.
Yeah.
So your degrees, how did you go from finance and psychology to chiropractic care? That's got to be a very interesting story.
It's unique. It's a little bit unique. I love education. I love learning and everything about it. And I'm fascinated with a lot of different things. So psychology became a passion of mine when I was very young. I was working towards my master's in clinical neuropsychology, and I decided that I would be working with a population that it'd be very tough to work with, and traumatic brain injuries, severe cognitive deficits, and I decided to make a change and kind of go towards finance. And markets have always fascinated me, money, and I was going to kind of link psychology and finance together and kind of really investigate, behavioral style investing in the markets. And so I ended up graduated, moving out to California, and I ended up in the bond industry, so fixed income, and I was a bond analyst out there for a long time, and really happy, very stressful, and it started to take a toll on my health. I was pre-diabetic, I was hypertensive, I was overweight, and things, it was a very high-paced, demanding job. So I decided that maybe, I started playing with the idea of changing a career, and that's when I met my now wife, who was going into chiropractic school at the time. And she showed me some of the things that they were learning. It was very fascinating, really piqued my interest. I grew up kind of, surrounded by that medical field. I worked in a lot of hospitals, my parents. And so it was really interesting to me. And I decided to kind of make that leap with her and go back and study to be a chiropractor. And it's just the best decision I ever made, both in relationship wise, but also professionally. And the rewarding job of a chiropractic in Hawaii, giving back to the community, helping people live their lives. It's been a real joy to work.
All right, awesome. We'll tell the listeners how we ended up crossing paths. I think I don't know, do you guys still do them? You send somebody out to Oh, did you guys bring lunch? I think you guys brought lunch, and somebody was
You know,
educating
lunch and
us.
learn about
Lunch and learn.
spinal health and your alignments.
Do you guys
Yeah.
do that?
We don't. We're starting to do it again. We took a break from it for a period of a couple of years. Yeah.
Like everybody with the pandemic. So
of course. So so we're having somebody go out, do some spinal screenings, lunch and learns, and just kind of promote the message of chiropractic care and how the holistic wellness basis of chiropractic care can really help a lot of people.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. I get it during COVID. You're like, hey, we're bringing some sandwiches and some COVID. No.
Yeah.
Take a break on that, and we are slowly but surely getting back to, I want to say, the normal before pre-COVID, because now we have new normals where things like these types of video live streamings are more commonplace as opposed to unusual, and people feel comfortable receiving this type of information in this format. So we're excited, and the reason why we decided to have you on was we just wanted to get the message out regarding, we had talked about it before we came on board, but it's going to be a question we end the interview with is, what do you know for sure? And what I know for sure is that health is number one. You've got to have your health. For people watching or listening to this, you think about it when you're really, really sick. Are you thinking about work? Are you thinking about even your significant other? Are you thinking about your kids or your pets? No, you're thinking about, how do I get well? Go ahead, Adrian.
Well, Dr. Scott has his own journey with the wellness and the health. It sounds like that, in his previous profession, he was not very healthy or happy and overweight. So how did you get to be so healthy? Like, what was your path of travel?
What was that crossroads in your life that said, I need to go this way instead of that way?
Honestly, it was when I was at the doctor's and he was about to prescribe me some medication for my cholesterol and for my blood pressure. And that's when I was like, okay, I don't want to go on this path. I was in my early 30s.
Yeah.
And I realized that this is not going to go well if I continue down this path. And so it was kind of it was a wake up call.
Yeah.
And so I started moving more. I started eating less, and I swapped out sodas for water. And those are the three big things that if we just all did, I think we wouldn't have this, this kind of problem in our country where the obesity is a little bit high.
Yeah.
And it's exactly. And Attilio, it's very true that health is number one. I will say that, yes, we get the acute type of sickness. We all get colds, we all get flus. But there's a different kind of health that often goes overlooked, and that's health to our external bodies, our outside. And the daily toll of work and life and kids and stress, it all puts pressure on our body. And we start to kind of wear down a little bit. It becomes painful to bend forward and put on our shoes. And that's kind of a slow moving process. So that is still kind of health. It's a musculoskeletal type of health. It's not the internal medicine that we kind of familiarize ourselves with medical doctors. But with chiropractic care, what we do is we address that other concern, that deficit in motion, or that pain that you're having when you move or play with your kids or go to work. That doesn't have to be a thing for everybody. It can be something that can be corrected.
Yeah, and I think people, like you said it before, they gotta eat less, get up and move, and drink more water. I mentioned it many times on our show before, but there's a new diet sweeping across the nation. It's called Eat Less and Exercise More. I'm not sure if you've heard about it, but it's been having some spectacular results. And the only side effects is that you live longer.
Yeah. Yep.
So let's talk specifically about the field that you're in, and how is that? There's a comedian. He's like, as you get older, you start pulling things just getting out of bed.
Yep.
And that's that sedentary lifestyle that us Americans are so favored of. So tell us what's the initial consultation for someone coming in, what would that look like?
Sure, absolutely. So when a new patient comes in, we kind of get a background history of what their life is like up to this point. So what kind of positions do they get themselves in, and for work? Everybody does a little bit different. What other health conditions you're currently managing, and we kind of get a snapshot of where you are in time. Then we check your range of motion. We get a baseline of kind of how your body is moving. We do some tests to kind of stress different areas of the body to see if it produces pain. That tells us doctors a lot about what potentially is going on in that area. And then we come up with a diagnosis and a treatment plan to, in our clinical experience, gets you back to not only get rid of pain, that's an important part, but kind of stabilize it and then get you to a condition of wellness where you don't ever have to have that pain again. Our current kind of model of healthcare is kind of sickness care. You know, you go to a doctor when you're sick. Exactly. Yeah. And so chiropractic and acupuncturists, physical therapists, they have kind of a gearing towards trying to keep you well so that you don't have to chase that pain away. You can kind of stay well in your daily life.
You know, did you know that in the old ancient Chinese village, did you know how the doctor got paid, the village doctor? He only got paid if everybody was well.
Oh, wow. That's an incentive structure right there.
That's going back 1,000 years. So there's something to be learned from that. And you're right. You know, for me personally, coming in, you always say, hey, what's bothering you? What's this? And it's not much. You know, I work out a lot and it's just the pain of working out. But I think maybe people have a myth too, that it's just people who've been in an auto accident and they're going to the chiropractor because they have some kind of serious back or neck pain. I had nothing wrong, and the presentation came in, and I just saw all the preventative benefits of a monthly visit. So my testimonial, that's my testimonial. Adrian, what's your testimonial? Why do you go in once a month?
Oh, I've been going to chiropractor since I've been like 9. So, being a gymnast, landing on my head, having a lot of, stuff move around, having that chiropractic care to keep me healthy, get me feeling better, has been a big part of my life. And and I've been in car accidents and I've had it for that too, but just over the last several years here, working with Dr. Scott and his team, going in for those monthly alignments and check-ins has been super helpful with how I feel, my posture, just everything. And then also getting great advice when I have other kind of ailments and knowing what to say and who to go to. Because there's certain things that you can't really just adjust. You got to get to physical therapy and so forth. So it's been a great monthly visit with Dr. Scott.
Well, that's true. If I may bring up also, it is true. You don't have to have a pain or a condition to go see a chiropractor. It's a very good way, if you consider yourself healthy and normal, to have a preventative measure to promote the motion in your spine, because our bodies are designed to move. And when we stop moving, that's when the problem tends to start. And so much of our work is sedentary. So much of our, we don't exercise, we drive everywhere, we sit at a desk in a cubicle in front of a computer for long periods of time, and that eventually takes its toll. So the body, that's when the problems start, is when we stop moving.
Yeah, I think Tony Robbins, he said you get in your box, which is your car, you leave your box, which is your home, then you get in a box to go up to your office, which is an elevator, then you sit in a box all day long, and then you leave the box to get in the other box to go back to the lobby, to get in your box to go back to your home, which is a box, and sit on the couch and crack open a cylinder. And then that's the American lifestyle. And he says the body was designed to move and be more functional. Talk about the I should have had you do some screen sharing with the thing, but I just looked it up real quick. Just what do we need to know basically about the spinal column here? I'll just share a picture of it if you guys can see that.
Absolutely. So just in general, our spine, we want it to be sturdy and stable, but we want it to be flexible and moving. And the spine is kind of a tricky structure because it houses the spinal cord, our communication highway. And when there's a lot of conditions that can kind of, close off or narrow off where that nerve comes out of the side of the spine and can start to produce a lot of problems, numbness, tingling, loss of muscle control. And the different areas of that spine affect the different areas of our body. So just real quick, the part of the neck, that part labeled cervical, those nerves that come out, they go into our arms and our all the way down to our hands. The upper back there goes into kind of the chest and the abdomen, and the lower back and that lumbar part goes into our legs. So all of your motor control, all of your sensory information is housed inside that spinal column there. And
So when my kids aren't like cleaning their room, I should just say, I'm going to kick you in the sacrum.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that.
So Dr. Scott.
Yeah.
As far as like your ideal patient or age, like what do you recommend? Like what are some of your youngest patients? I know I brought my kids in and they loved it and they always asked to come back in.
Of course.
Like, what's your age range as far as recommended?
It's if you're alive, you could use chiropractic care. I adjusted my son when he was 2 days old. I had an infant just yesterday that was 6 weeks. So
wow.
we adjust infants very different than adults, obviously. It's very gentle. There's no twisting. There's no turning. And then as old as, I think my oldest patient right now is 86.
Wow.
So and he's been going to chiropractors as long as he's been alive. So he's very familiar with it and he knows the benefit of it and he never misses that monthly appointment.
And how is he walking? Is he like really active because of this continued chiropractic care?
One of the healthiest 86-year-olds I've ever seen. It's incredible. His motion, he's not using a cane. He doesn't have any hip replacements. He is very healthy for his age.
One of the myths we talked about, the only people going to having chiropractic visits is people who've been in car accidents or something, or some kind of work or home injury. Are there any other myths that you'd like to do some myth busting on regarding chiropractic or spinal health?
Sure. I would say the biggest I'll call it a hang up is when we adjust a neck for the first time, because everybody's seen those action movies. They've seen kind of all of those of scary moments. And it's nothing like that. If there's one thing that I could myth bust is that the neck adjustment is completely safe. We screen it to make sure that there's nothing else going on with it. And it's a little weird. The joints in the neck are really close to the ears. So there's a loud sound to it, but it is very beneficial. And the neck is pretty freely movable. So we got to keep it moving.
That's my favorite one. That is my favorite adjustment. I always feel so much better after you adjust my neck. It's like,
Well, I like it when Dr. Scott is about to adjust my neck. He comes really close to my ear and he goes, "We are going to adjust your neck and then go to the choppers." No.
Just one or two times. Well, just occasionally.
But I like, you do the assessments, ask us if we have any problem areas, and then go through it. And it's a quick procedure. So if people are busy, don't let that be excuse, because you're out. And you guys aren't like, I don't know, people dread going to like medical appointments because it's like 45-minute wait for a 5-minute appointment. And but with you guys, it's like boom, boom.
Get it out. Very efficient.
It really, that's the other conception. It doesn't take a lot of time to determine where we want to adjust. For a chiropractor that's experienced, they pick it up almost instantaneously. It takes 2 seconds as we feel that back. So it is quick. It does. You're not in our office for a long time unless you have a flare up or a different type of condition. Then we kind of slow down. But for those wellness visits, it's just checking in, making sure you're healthy and you don't have anything else going on. Align that spine and get you on your way. The nice part is we're at Turning Point. We're open very early and we're open till 7 p.m. too, so we can accommodate most schedules. And our office in the Mililani location, we're open 7 days a week. So
you guys have multiple locations. Can you share with us where you guys are located all over the islands?
Absolutely. We have 6 locations. We have one in Haleiwa, one in Ewa, one in Kaimuki, one in Mililani, and one in Waipio, and Aiea as well. And we're hoping to open a 7th at the end of this year.
Awesome.
So like no excuses. You cannot be like,
That's
oh,
right.
it's too far. Like you guys are pretty much everywhere.
That's right.
Well,
We try to be.
I think people should be, it's like, again, that misconception that something needs to be wrong to go in. You guys came out to the office. I was like, yeah, let's check it out. I'm all about, I think, what is it? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Oh, yeah.
And that if people could go back in time and say, hey, I wish I did this versus that to have the health that I have today, I think visiting you guys is something that's what I think of in my mind is I want to be, my goal is I am going to be your oldest patient when I'm coming in there when I'm 98 years old.
Okay.
No
I believe it.
You should be retired by then. So I might be working with your son or something.
There you go. I believe it. You can do it. You can do it.
If he follows in your footsteps. So, but I think spinal health is important because it's everything, right? You have those bones protecting your spinal column, which is pretty important.
Yep.
So
very important.
Adrian, what are the questions before we wrap it up with Dr. Scott here?
Well, I think we've covered most everything. So let's wrap it up. Did you have another question, Attilio, about what?
Oh yeah. So
sure?
maybe you mentioned it earlier. Let's do it one more time because repetition
Sure.
lends emphasis. But let's wrap it up with the old Oprah question. What do you know for sure?
I know for sure that chiropractic helps people.
Yeah.
Period. Full stop. It's a benefit and it helps.
Yeah. All right. Good.
Go visit Dr. Scott.
Yeah.
Or any of the other locations.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
What I like about you guys having so much locations is the consistency of service, the availability, and that you guys make, especially for Adrian and I, we're like super swamp busy, and that you guys are very accommodating if we're a couple minutes late and you guys get us in, get us out. So if you're too busy, don't make that an excuse because you guys have been really accommodating over the couple of years that we've been coming. And we moved with you guys. I think
that's right.
I think we moved with you guys 3 times. You was upstairs, you went downstairs, and then you went across the street.
Yep, that's it.
So.
But you keep upgrading every time. It's a much nicer,
bigger, nicer offices.
Yeah.
Yeah, we keep going. That's our goal. Improve and get better.
All righty. Well, we're gonna say aloha and just hang in there with us. Friday Live.